What is up, everybody? It's your boy Ray, and wait, let's start over. What is up, everybody? We are live and in living color. That sounds a lot better. Welcome to another fantastic episode of This Week in Reselling, where we interview special guests each and every week from different walks of life in the reselling world. Here we'll discuss the highs and lows of reselling and dive into great conversation. We are positive that you're going to hear something that is going to help you become a better reseller. I am your host, Ray, and at some point, Dustin will come on. I think. I don't know. So, but today, guys, is an interesting podcast. So we don't have a guest today on our show, but I wanted to bring up a little bit of a topic, a little bit of an elephant in the room, like I would like to say. And if you saw the title of this podcast, and I don't know how long this podcast is going to be. I don't know how long we're going to, keep discussing this topic throughout the podcast, or if we're going to move on and talk about some other things in the reselling world. But, there are are there, as my friend Lisette would like to say, are there too many reselling podcasts in the reselling community? That is the question. So, of course, if you've been hearing us here on YouTube, listening to us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, you know that This Week in Reselling is probably one of the oldest reselling podcasts besides, Pure Hustle podcasts. But lately, there's been a plethora of podcasts for people to listen to, especially reselling podcasts. We have Chris, the old school picker, just started his podcast, Two Old Guys or Two Old Farts or something like that. And of course, we have Kristen and Angie with Let's Do Lunch podcast. And then we have our good friends Ken and Jimmy, Old School Flips. They have their podcasts, Reselling Clickbait podcasts. And of course, the guys over in Trash to Cash have their podcasts. And my good friend Paul decided to start his own podcast called The Flip Side. And so there's a lot going on, and it is a lot for you guys to consume. But my question that I wanted to bring up, are there too many reselling podcasts in the reselling space? And my answer is absolutely not. There are not enough podcasts in the reselling space. I wish there was 10, 20, 30 more podcasts, because everybody, especially if you have the gift of gab, should start a podcast no matter what. And that's a good thing that I like about Paul, is he wanted to go a different route and talk about or have a conversation between him and his friends, and just talk about everyday stuff. And shameless plug, I had the opportunity to be on his podcast, The Flip Side, yesterday, and actually came out today. So if you guys want to do Paul a favor, do me a favor, go over and listen to that as well. And again, guys, are there too many reselling podcasts? There's not. There can never be enough. I've seen podcasts come and go. I've seen YouTube reselling channels come and go. Dustin and I have been reselling for about, I think, 5 years now, and we started our social media journey about 4 years. And one of the things that we really wanted to do is have a open conversation type of thing, and that was at first it started with the podcast. It was called Interview with the Flipper. So that was initially the beginning of this so-called podcast, and then we kind of not rebranded. It just kind of grew and evolved into something different, and that's where we are now. And This Week in Reselling, where initially Dustin and I were just talk about our week in reselling, and it grew into something that is more of an interview-based podcast. And this week we didn't have a guest, so we decided, hey, let's just have a open mic. Dustin will eventually come on And to discuss this topic a little further, I put out the bat signal, the reselling bat signal, and who comes calling is our boy Mr. Bill, SSK Promo. And if you don't know, Ken's last name is Bill. Right?
Perfect. Perfect to use Mr. Bill.
Mr. Bill. And another person they came calling to defend themselves is the co-host of the Let's Do Lunch podcast. We have Angie Resells is in the building as well. Thank you guys so much. And not to be outdone by Ken and Angie, we have Dustin at some point in 4K coming from the caves of Afghanistan somewhere. But Angie, Ken, let's start with Ken since I introduced you first, Ken. For the people that may not know about your podcast, you and Jimmy's podcast, and they're listening to ours and don't know who you are, how is that? Tell us a little bit about it. How do you guys got started? And give us a little brief introduction of what to expect when they listen to the Reseller Clickbait podcast.
Well, hey, thanks for having me here. Yeah, I would first of all say, no, there's not. I agree. I concur. There is not too many reseller podcasts out there. But I am one half of the Reseller Clickbait podcast with Jimmy Old School Flips. SSK Promo is my individual channel. Old School Flips is Jimmy's channel. And we just kind of, friends started talking about stuff. He used to do a show called Score, and I would come on there as a guest, and we just got to talking one day. It's like, hey, we should start doing a podcast. We watched your podcast every week, Trash to Cash Guys, and it's like, that looks like fun. Let's talk about what we do. And so each week we kind of get together and we just talk about whatever. We talk about our week. We talk about maybe some topics that are in reselling, in the reselling world. Sometimes we're just talking about absolutely nothing, whatever comes to mind that day. We don't usually script a whole lot of stuff, but and then, there's been a number of other ones that have started up, and I've been enjoying all of them as well. Flippin' Fantastic is another one with Ink Picker, and Mo 87 Official is another good podcast that started here recently. So we just try to have fun. We goof around. It's mostly us just having a conversation and doing our thing.
Exactly. So I like what you guys are doing. Of course, you know that we're friends. We're all friends in this reselling community. Yes. And so Dustin is completely oblivious to what's going on. Dustin, for the people that may not know you, I'm kind of doing almost like a starting over kind of thing. Maybe Dustin, instead of doing it live, we might go into pre-recorded realm and see how that goes. I don't know if you would be open to that or not. We'll discuss it going forward. But Dustin, for the people that don't know you, give a little brief introduction about you, how you got into reselling, how you got into this co-hosting this podcast, all that good stuff. Because a lot of people don't know you, Dustin, because you like to keep it quiet over there. But once you have a little adult beverages, you tend to open up a little bit.
I do sometimes. I got into reselling because of this guy above me right here about 2017. He showed me some Gary Vee videos, and it was game over after that. Went to Bargain Hunt, started out there during Christmas time, got 20% off toys, started selling on there, and sold everything got around the house. That's how I started in reselling. But, like long walks on the beach time to time, play some golf, all that stuff. But I like to have...
What'd you say, Dustin?
Like to have some fun.
There you go. We all like to have. You cut out a little bit.
Is it picking up my mic or is it picking up the
It is. You
mic?
sound perfect. You sound crispy clear. So
cool.
Okay. So next up, I do want to give Angie an opportunity to introduce herself and talk a little bit about the podcast with her co-host, Kristen.
Hey.
Coming in from parts unknown. So you girls, which is
Double
something.
teamed.
Here's something that I do want to discuss.
Girls.
There is not enough ladies in the podcast space.
That's right.
In the community,
we did notice that.
talking that, and I love what you guys are doing and how you initially you saw the need and you were like, you know what? Gosh darn it, we need to start a podcast. All these guys are here. They're taking up all this space. And it's thriving. Your podcast is thriving. It's amazing. You guys recently just had the meetup in St. Louis. So you guys get to see all the wonderful people that love you guys, that drive 8 hours to come see you and have lunch with you, which is amazing.
Yes.
So talk a little bit about your podcast, how you got started.
Not everyone loves us. Ray didn't show up.
Well, I had other
That's
things that I needed to do. So, but I digress.
Well,
Introduce yourself.
Yeah,
and
I'm
then go from
half the least better half of the Let's Do Lunch podcast, and with Kristen, who is a rural squirrel, and pretty much what Ray said. Though Ray, I was a little distracted by the chest hairy thing, so
I know it's a little distracting. My apologies. There's no button on this. Is so. I need to get like a little. I need to get like a little safety pin. So.
Might get banned because of that.
Kristen and I basically thought exactly what Ray said, in that there's a lot of strong male perspectives out there doing reselling. Reselling podcasts, and we would just love to have more of a woman's perspective and let other women and the guys see strong women in reselling and kind of get our perspective as well. So that's kind of, we talk about all things reselling, our lives, friendships, make fools of ourselves on every possible occasion that we can, and we're having the absolute best time of our lives. It is such an amazing thing that we're doing, and the best decision I think I've made as far as YouTube goes, because the people that we're meeting are incredible. And so we're just, my opinion is, bring it on. Anybody who wants to do a podcast, there's always more room for more voices. Not everyone does things the same, and that's what makes it great and unique.
Awesome. I love it.
I'm going to echo everything that Angie said. Thanks for letting us pop in, though.
Yeah,
I think it's great. I think this is a great opportunity to highlight the rest of the podcast and the reselling
for sure.
space.
We loved it, though. Angie and I kind of talked for a second that your thumbnail was great, but we are the only girls on the thumbnail. So I think it's important that we do, try to represent and, let everybody know that anybody can do this. There's plenty of space for everybody. Just like there's just enough stuff to be reselling. There's lots of different voices and opinions, and it's hard to find your people.
That's a great point. Kristen, Angie, let me ask you this question, and then we'll bring on another person here. For a lady, a woman, a young lady that's wanting to start a podcast in the reselling space, that's thinking about it. Like, I don't know how long you girls were thinking about it and finally did it, but if someone's thinking about it right now and you want to give them that word of encouragement so what would you say to that person?
Don't wait. I've wanted to do this since like 2016, 2017, something like that. And whenever we were, all together, when Angie and I were together for the first time, and I was like, we got to do this. We got to do this. And she didn't hesitate. She was like, let's go. Let's do this. I couldn't find anybody to do it with me. So
I knew I wanted to do it, but I just didn't have somebody who would be committed to doing it. And I think if you want to do it, the biggest mistake that people on podcasts make is not committing to it and doing it every week over week. You can't maybe sometimes do it, maybe put out a thing. You need to consistently do it every single week so people know you're out there and expect you to be there every single week. So I think that's the biggest thing. And
don't
go for it. Put yourself out there. Let everyone know. We got to find out you're there. That's how we'll come and support you.
Consistency.
Yes.
Great.
So speaking of consistency, I'll kick it back to you, Ken. Now, we all know, myself included, I have an issue with consistently putting out reselling pre-recorded videos. And there's other people in this room, but I know that you have addressed it for yourself, Ken. But how is that different than putting out a weekly podcast for you?
Well, the podcast, we have a kind of a set recording time. I find doing lives or doing that pre-record for the podcast, we don't do any editing. There's no editing. We do our show and we throw it up there. The next morning. We usually record on Sunday evenings. Actually, just recorded right before I came on here.
Nice.
But doing the pre-records, there's that, you have that footage. And there's all the editing. You want to make sure that it's something interesting, that it's something that somebody might want to watch or gain some knowledge from. And so I find the podcasting, the live, that kind of just interaction that, say, Jimmy and I have, or if we have a guest on that week, is I find it much easier to do the podcast and the lives than it is, because you talk and you're not I overthink. I have a tendency to overthink everything. So when I watch the footage that I have and try to make a pre-record, I'll get through the whole thing and go, this stinks. I don't even like it. I'm bored watching it, and I made it, and it was all about me, and I think everybody wants to see me, and then that stuff doesn't get put out. So I do find that the podcast format, or that that kind of even though it is a pre-recorded and not a live, much easier to do than content videos.
Don't you feel like there's a little bit more accountability too? Whenever you have the podcast, it comes out at a certain time. You have somebody that you are reliant on to make sure that you get the schedule done, and that there's a little more pressure to be on time and do it right and put out good stuff and communicate. It feels like you've got a partner in this that you've got to work it through. So I think that also helps when you've got somebody doing it with you, not just doing it.
Does anybody want to trade partners? I'm
that would be fun.
I'm looking for the trade.
That would be it.
That was like a reality series Ray's going to set up soon.
Right? It's like Survivor with all the
where we all have to switch partners. Wife swap.
That's hilarious. But
I like that idea.
Yeah.
But like you were saying, accountability, it's kind of like going to the gym. It's easier to go to the gym when someone's going with you. And then if you have an accountability, like if Kristen didn't want to do it this week, you're like, oh, Angie wants to do it, so I want to make sure that she gets to do it and have fun and talk with her friends and just talk reselling with other like-minded individuals. And then, like I was saying, there's plenty of space between all of us. Maybe Dustin isn't some person's cup of tea, or maybe they're more of a Ken fan, or maybe they're more of a Jimmy fan, or maybe they're more of a Kristen fan. So it's like, it's just it's certain people's cup of tea, and there's enough space for everybody. And there's plenty of cake to go around, and a person that really likes to get a big piece of cake is our boy Paul with the flip side. So
show's over.
Doing a Let's Get Dinner podcast.
Let's Get Dinner podcast.
I'm thinking about brunch. How do you feel about brunch?
Just to let everybody know, I listed 8 things by the time Ray actually led me on the stupid show. I was in the back room for that.
Hey, I was trying to find a good segue, Paul. I saw you in the background, so I was just trying to find
I got here before Kristen got here.
No, you didn't. You did not.
It was very close. It was a very close time.
You did not.
But yes.
But this is Paul, the Philly Flipper. Paul with look at that headshot. Oh my goodness.
Wow.
That is fantastic.
What are you doing with that picture?
This is how I got it. This
Didn't you purchase that at a garage sale? Or
I got it. Bought it at a flea market.
Are you sleeping with that or something? Because it is really real.
I should be
hugging it.
This is the shape I bought this item in, and it's been. I just been like looking at it.
Vintage.
You might be looking at it on those lonely cold nights.
Does he have on a hard hat?
It looked like that rode around in ADHD.
It looks like a hard hat.
For too long.
I thought it was a hard hat.
I got
it. Bob the Builder hard hat.
My best ever flea market purchase right there. That thing is great. It's great.
Nice. Before we get into you, Paul, Ken, is that your cabbie hat? it's like your brand. Like what
It is
that something that you just always wore, or is it?
To be honest with you, I usually don't wear a hat. It was a conscious decision of a look. And so usually
It's
when
like
I'm on camera,
it's like a part of your brand. You're like, I'm on camera.
Yeah.
I'm going to put my cabbie hat on.
that is
Like
is
the red
exactly it. It is
glasses.
part of a
It's
brand. Yes.
It's
Interesting.
like Dustin's backwards hat. I can't imagine Dustin without a backwards
Yes.
hat on. I have never seen him without a backwards hat.
I don't think I've ever seen Dustin without a hat
Can't do
on
it.
at all.
No,
I
right?
learned
Dustin has
yesterday.
Dustin has an
during our
amazing
podcast.
head of hair.
Oh, let's see. Let's see.
Let's see that head of hair. Look at that.
Yo,
I got some
you
good-
have to expose that.
I'm
What are you
telling
doing?
Dustin
I got
has an
some good hair.
amazing head of hair.
That's better than
Hey.
Las Vegas, I think.
Yeah.
I have an amazing head.
Look at that.
Hey,
See?
Man, you gotta show that off, Dustin. Man, what are you doing?
He's got an
Lose
amazing
the
head.
hat, man.
I just took a shower like 20 minutes ago, so I can't
It's
do it.
fresh.
Too wet.
He's got that Pantene
lose
in
the
there.
hat.
I also learned yesterday that Dustin is like 6'5", like
How tall are you,
monster
Dustin?
Machine.
6'4".
6'4", 6'6", yeah.
Yeah, that was shocking
Wow.
to me too. Yeah, so
How
So
tall-
Dustin wears a
how tall are
size-
you?
me, I'm 6'5" ish, 6'6". Depends on what
Yeah.
shoes I'm wearing.
There you go.
And then
Wow.
Dustin wears a 15, right, Dustin?
Correct. 15.
Yeah.
15. So hard to find shoes for this kid.
Yes.
I was telling Paul yesterday,
It is.
my nephew Dustin's kid, he's 4. He's always wearing like a size 1.
Yeah, the dude looks
Yeah,
like he's like
he's-
8 or 9, right?
Yeah. He's
Yes.
he's a
Yes.
monster. So, but Paul, tell us about your new podcast.
My new podcast is a reseller podcast that is not about reseller content. Something that Ken really likes. I remember Ken made a comment before that he loves resellers making content that's not reseller related, right? So,
I do.
So that is kind of what
Huh.
my podcast is about. It's just a sit down, open flow conversation wherever it goes. I have a couple of bullet points, like for example, Ray, yours. I had 10 bullet points with you. We just hit on one, so it wasn't like structural at all. It's just we
We
go
got into
wherever-
a lot of things.
wherever the conversation goes, and it's fun. It's fun because a lot of people like see resellers. So my goal is not just to have resellers in the future. It's going to have other people that have YouTube channels and stuff, but to get to see where they come from, how they made it, why did they make that kind of content, and just talk about other things. You know, not everybody wants to hear about bolos all year long, or about
Exactly.
sell-through array, or about Veros, or what is the glitches on eBay this week. You know, there's plenty of people talking already about that. I want to talk about, hey, let's talk about aliens with Ray. Let's talk about his friend that puts booze in a beer keg or in a beer can. Let's talk
In a
about
gas
that.
I want to listen to
In a
that.
gas can, yeah. So let's talk about that. You know, and I find it very entertaining, and just like Ken, I'm sure Angie and Kristen, just yours are the same. There's no editing involved at all. It's whatever we record, we just put it out and it's there. So it's not really that much work required at all. Oh, Kristen goes this for the editing.
No, with Ken, sometimes I overthink things and I'll call Angie and be like, hey, remember that part where I said the thing with the thought? No, don't. I didn't say that. Just
Kristen drops like 8 million F-bombs during the show, but she wants them all cut.
I know.
Angie has a lot of work to edit.
It's really hard.
Kristen's the Bob Saget of reselling. Really,
It's very
really
true.
like really clean in the front, but in the back end, it's
If-
It's
I
extremely
remember that
Really bad, Ray.
from our episode Let's Lunch. She cursed me out like 8 times, and she goes, "Angie,
I
cut that
know.
out." She's like, "Angie, 8 minutes 21 seconds, cut."
got it.
I have a like a ticker that I just keep track of all the times that I say all the
So
Take it
that's
out.
hilarious.
Golly
So
darn it.
let me jump back around to Ken here, and I have a question for the same question for everybody. So Ken, I know that you do your co-host Jimmy Old School Flips that is currently in the chat right now. What do you see your podcast like? Do you have a goal for the podcast, or do you see it evolving into something different than what it is now? What would you like it to be? Because it's like it's not even been a year that you've had the podcast, correct?
We're just a little
close.
over a year. We
Just
a
a little over a
recorded
year?
episode 57. So when we've done it,
Dang.
weekly.
Nice.
So we're actually probably
It seems
over
like you just
60
started
episodes.
like last month. It's
That's
crazy.
what
how
I'm
fast
saying.
time
Like it
flies.
feels like you just started.
Yeah, we've been around over a year now, and yeah, we just, as far as evolving, we just hope that people enjoy what we're doing. The channel, the growth has been very slow so far. I'll admit that we're not hitting big numbers, but part of that is my fault, and I don't put out a lot of individual content to draw, let's say, my audience towards it. So my channel is not very big. Jimmy has a much bigger channel, and so people get exposed to that, get exposed to him, and hopefully they follow over with that. But we talked about doing some different things. We're talking about having some more guests on the show. We're talking about doing some different things, maybe a little bit of a segment. This week we tried to do thing with what was our good finds for the week, or what was the best sale for the week, something like that, along with the content, whatever the rest of the either reselling or not was. But we enjoy doing it. I think that's the thing. Each week, although we talk to each other now that he's here in Ohio, we talk to each other quite often. But it's just fun. It's fun on our Sunday evenings when we record, just to chit chat and have fun and laugh, and hopefully people are picking up on that and having fun with it. And yeah, we would like to have thousands of subscribers and be monetized, but we seem to have a good core of followers that follow every week, that comment, that seem to enjoy what we're doing, and I'm happy with that. Yeah, would I like to be bigger, but to what end? If I know the people that are watching it are happy and getting a laugh, and that's good.
Yeah.
That's good with me.
Yeah, Cameron has a good point. The SEO and podcast on YouTube is very hard. Like it's really hard for you to push out a podcast organically. So, like you have to make it grow based on the people that you have already in your social media following, or as Ken said, the guests that you bring on. For like, it would be great if somebody could discover an SEO way for podcasts to get picked up, but so far I haven't figured that one out yet. So yeah.
And I don't even know if everyone has this ability or not, but isn't there now a podcast tab on YouTube for
It just
the channels?
happened. Yeah.
Right? Like I don't know if I have it.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, on top.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's
Or
not
not.
really a podcast tab.
Yeah.
It's like I have eBay next to it. I have Pokemon next to it. It's just the things that I'm into.
Okay.
So
I just
think it's like
clicked on the
custom things.
podcast tab. The first one that came up was the flip side, at least
Hey!
on my screen anyway.
Hey,
Hey.
let's go. Great choice, Ken. Great choice.
Episode
That's the SEO right there.
it was episode 4, the one with Lotta Josh.
That's
So-
What came
that's a
up
good
first
episode.
online.
That's a good episode. Hey.
So I'll the same question rolling over to the Let's Do Lunch gals.
What was the question?
Like
What?
See, this
Say
is
it
the
again?
part that Kristen would have to edit out. This was a prerequisite.
what do you see your podcast turning into? What would you like it to turn into? What do you see it turning into?
I mean, I think Angie and I have not discussed this ahead of time. However, I think it would be cool if it continues and it becomes something like the regular thing that you're going to listen to every Friday afternoon. That we, we're a household name. Wouldn't that be great?
Yes.
And I think we like to introduce new people
Yeah.
if we can. I mean, obviously we like, there's a lot of big resellers that we've had on, including some of the people here, but we want to get, I'm sorry, you're on our list. I know, everyone's sorry. My bad.
That guy right there.
Our goal is to get more eyes on whatnot sellers, on people who do things a little different outside the box, and podcasts, and then we also really try to introduce you to small, brand new people
With the
who
shout
may
outs
not
and
be
stuff.
may not be big yet, but they're growing their channel and they're doing something different and new. Our goal is not necessarily just, hey, let's sit around and just talk about reselling. We want it to be where you can talk about your life as a small business owner. So even if you're not a reseller, you can still come in and have lunch with us and really just unwind and laugh and spend time with other people who are like-minded. So for us, that's the biggest thing. And I would love for more people to be introduced to all different kinds of people so that our community grows. We're always surprised by people we have never met. But it's a small little world we're in, but there's whole segments of it that we don't know yet. So the more people we can introduce, the bigger our little community can grow too.
I love it. I love it. Ken, I was going to ask you this question and it flew. So Jimmy is now living within, what would you say? How many?
Less than 20 miles.
Less than 20 miles. Are you guys going to maybe do it together? Like in the same room? Is that a possibility going forward?
That's fine. I'm just saying.
I'll keep this family friendly.
What are they going to do together,
friendly.
That Kristen says it's
doing
fun
the
too,
podcast together.
Kristen,
Andy and I just did one where we were both like together. It was really hard to keep focused. We were laughing and having such a good time. So,
it is hard to keep focused when you do it together. That's a very good point, Chris.
Remind me, bring that up when we're out because I have something that I want to get into. But anyways, doing the podcast, recording the podcast together now that you guys are.
It's not even something that we have discussed, but it is a possibility. My situation in this room is not great for that. Jimmy does have a new office space that he didn't have before when he was out in Denver. But I am working currently to build an eBay office out in my garage. I'm clearing out a whole great big space, and I'm going to have a dedicated office, which will have a better video and video editing area. So that is possible in the future that we are side by side doing it. But right now, we haven't really discussed it.
Okay. I know Dustin and we have discussed doing the podcast together in like maybe leasing out a space to where it would be our whatnot studio, our podcast studio.
Neat.
Because especially if we want to get into buying more pallets and high volume stuff, we would have to have that space especially. So that's where we would like to do it in the future and have like a background where Dustin is facing me and we're just talking back and forth. Like you guys said, it's a lot more fun. It's organic. It's just different. And we've done that a couple times, right, Dustin? And it's way the energy is better.
Like Chris and
It's
Kathy on
sure.
Ginger Marvin do, where they're in the same room, but they've got their own cameras. You can tell that they're in the same room and that they're like the connection is different whenever you're in the same.
They're playing footsies. You can tell they're playing footsies the whole time.
Totally get that from
You
them.
can tell. And like Chris, you can tell.
There you go. And here's another podcaster,
Yeah.
YouTube turned podcaster. We have Chris, old school picker.
New one.
Excuse me, a new one. So
We're
if you
break
guys
the
want
internet
to,
tonight.
I know if you guys want to follow Chris, old school picker with the two old guys reselling podcasts, and I want to have Chris back on just to discuss that. So it is a good show.
Your name for them better, right? The two old farts. That was pretty.
The two old farts
That's
reselling podcasts. So and I don't know, Chris. We have Chris Flip the World is coming in as well. He says, "Well, look at all these old podcasters." I know that Chris had a podcast in the past that he did with Jiggly Thrift, and I don't know where that stands, but he had
Reselling
discussed
After Dark, right? Something like that. Yeah.
had discussed rebranding and redoing a podcast. And if someone needs to do a podcast, Chris Flip the World needs to do the podcast. Period. By himself, with anybody, because that boy's got the gift of gab.
Yes, he does.
He's so easy to talk to.
Hey, I'm going to throw out something. There's a comment there, perfectly blessed, about podcast getter through the day, in the car, shopping, cleaning, cooking. And another reason I enjoy podcasts is you don't have to watch the screen like you do on content. When you're watching a what sold or you're watching a sourcing video and somebody says, "Oh, look at this thing that I saw," you naturally want to look up at the screen, pay attention to what's going on, where the podcasts are just in the background, because there's not usually a lot of visuals. Some people throw stuff up or talk about something, but that's another good thing I like about listening to all the podcasts. Plus the length of them. Most of them are usually about an hour, or some are even more. In Paul's case, you've had what, a couple of hours.
Mine are usually 2. Yeah.
And so you can just turn it on, get some work done while
you
while
can
you're just
pause.
listening.
I know many people said it takes them like a week to get through mine because they do like 15 minutes one day, then they go back. So, and it's something that you can, especially with mine, because the way we bounce through like 85 different topics, you can pause it and come back to it and feel like you didn't miss anything because it's going to be about a different topic in like a minute later.
I had to be perfectly honest, I had to take a break from Paul. I have to talk to him.
you?
I have to talk to him on Monday. He's doing
rude.
his like reseller day in the life every day.
Yes,
I'm
every
just
day.
like, man, I see you more than I see my wife.
That's good.
He's everywhere.
That's good.
It's everywhere. The man's
good
got
news.
3 YouTube channels. How many YouTube channels do you have now, Paul?
Technically 4, but only pay
4
attention to 3.
YouTube channels.
I only pay attention to 3. The piano doesn't count. It's a
Oh,
channel,
a
but
piano one.
Yeah.
Oh,
We recently
piano.
discovered the piano
What's
one.
the name of the piano one? Philly piano? Philly plays?
I don't want to say it's very
Billy Pianist?
it's very egotistical, the name of the channel. So
What is it
Oh,
called?
you definitely
Yeah.
need to tell us.
it's Paul's Piano Magic. It's magic.
And so, are you playing the piano on
He
this?
is playing
Yes.
the piano. It's
That's
very
really
good.
cool.
is it on loop? So you keep on
Piano.
getting the views?
Piano.
Does it
I'll
what?
have to check this out.
Is it on loop? It would be great to get like some
Oh,
maybe
that's a great
nighttime music
point,
on the
Dustin.
piano. Just put it on loop, man. You get millions of views guaranteed.
Ooh, Philly Fingers.
Right.
That's a good one, Steve.
Philly's big.
Philly
Paul,
Fingers.
what is it called? Paul's Piano Magic?
Paul's Piano Magic, man. Yeah.
Dustin's got a great
Piano.
point, Paul, that you need to do one that
Play some-
loops because so my wife has this weird thing to where she likes to play music for my dog like when he's in the crate and we're like out and about.
I do that.
Okay, so I guess it's a common thing, but she like it's an instrumental music or whatever. So I would love to have a 2-hour long piano session
You found it? Oh god.
with Paul. I can't I can play these because these are
Well,
They're-
they're not making
Well-
any money. First of all,
Grandma Noodles is going to be be really excited about that because
Yeah.
Right.
He is surprisingly really good.
He's got those long hot dog fingers.
I don't. I also can't like read music or anything, so it's just I hear and I play it. So that's the way we do it. Yeah.
do you sing while you play?
No, I don't sing. Thank God I don't sing. No, no one wants to hear
okay.
that. I sing in the shower.
I'd make it 10
but
times better.
I don't think that would be good YouTube content. Me in the shower. I don't think.
Go
never-
ahead.
hey.
Start singing right now. Let's see.
Yeah, sing
let us
something
find
for
out.
us.
No.
Have a little faith in me. Come on, Paul.
Ooh. Yeah, I feel like me and you should collaborate. I should sing.
Yeah, let's
I
do
should
it.
let you
You
sing.
go.
I should
We
collaborate.
would watch
We can
that.
we can start a mariachi band right now.
That we can
Yeah.
make like Dustin the face of the channel. Just have
Yeah,
him
with his
together,
hair.
Look at
like
hair.
he's
There we
singing.
go.
It's like a Millie
Milli
kind of
Vanilli?
thing. Yeah.
He'll just be lip singing to your voice, and it will look like he's playing the piano the whole time. That's just me and you doing the work. And he's just there.
I'll tell
for
you
us.
what. I've been trying to get my other brother-in-law, Adrian. Dustin knows Adrian. He is a singer. So I've been bugging him, and he plays the keys too. I've been bugging him and telling him, dude, you got to write a jingle for our YouTube channel. Like, please write a jingle.
yeah.
For our
So
YouTube channel.
cool.
Mm-hmm.
Man.
And he's like, man, I'll try. I'll try. Every time I see him, it's like, come on, man. How's that jingle coming along? So we have Chris Flip the World just dropped a 99-cent super sticker. Thank you so much, Chris. I appreciate you. And guys, I know that you guys are commenting in the chat. Thank you all so much. I can't get to your comments, and thank you all for coming on and just experiencing all the love here with all of these amazing friends of Dustin and I. So we really do appreciate you. So we have Yakov Benz is coming in. You missed your calling. Me or I think Paul missed.
I don't know who he's referring to.
Paul,
I
you
think
need
both
to
of
I think
them.
just do
referring to
it.
Dustin. I think he's referring to Dustin. Dustin is just fine.
Yeah,
I
should have
don't
gone to
know
the
what
hair
his calling
modeling.
was, but hair modeling. That could have been you.
Ooh,
man.
I could have did hand model for our
Like George Costanza.
like George Costanza.
Yeah.
Wasn't that what your OnlyFans is about, Ray? Your hands?
Just my hands.
Yeah.
People do
You
say
just-
that I have abnormally soft hands.
Can we see your hands? Ray? Show your hands. They're very good looking.
He's got
hands,
no
right?
calluses. A man
Let me-
with no
Turn
calluses.
them around. Let's see.
Oh,
Let's see your nails, though.
That's
Clean
okay.
and
That's
short,
that's
nice.
almost scary how clean that is.
You
That's
get
a-
manicures?
Do you
No.
do any manual
Looks
labor
like you get
whatsoever, Ray?
manicures.
No, I don't.
He does. He does.
I leave it to Dustin.
Dustin gets
Terrible.
manicures?
No, I'm saying like if I have to like hang something out
The
in
manual
the
labor.
house, I'm like, hey Dustin, you want to come over
Oh,
here
really?
and hang up? Yeah.
You don't even like use a
Yeah.
drill to put like a screw in the wall or anything like that?
No,
I did that for him. I did that.
I don't want to. I don't want to like drill 50 holes in the wall.
So he leaves me to drill
Wow.
50 holes.
So
in
I'm
the
like,
wall.
Dustin, come over and do this.
Drill 50 holes.
Yeah.
Yep,
So
exactly.
I'm not that.
D-
I'm not
Dustin,
that guy.
come hang this picture while I moisturize. That's the text Ray says.
Let's see here. Ooh, he's soft from all that Goodwill bin grease.
Oh,
So that brings up a great point. Becky brought up kind of a great point. So guys, Dustin and I kind of have a little bit of a hardship that we're going to go through here in the next couple of months, weeks, years.
Yes. Yes.
3 of our bin stores closed in the last 2 weeks.
what?
Really?
Like Amazon bins or Goodwill bins?
Amazon bins.
Whoa.
Amazon bins.
Damn.
They
One
don't
of 'em-
normally
Good
last.
ones? Good ones too?
The good one, give me a 5, which is our $5 one that we've gone through since our beginning of reselling, says they're rebranding and they're closing half of their stores. So our next closest store that we have, we used to have one 10 minutes away, Dustin.
Yeah, 10 minutes away.
But then that one caught on fire. They never opened it back
Oh my
up.
gosh.
And then now we were driving 30 minutes away to go to a bin store, and that's going to close. So the next one is in Cookeville, Tennessee, and it's like
45 minutes away.
45
Yeah.
minutes
Fifty.
away.
Eesh. Eesh.
So we got to figure something out.
Have
And
you
then
been
there's-
to that one
That's a
before?
lot of- that's a
We've
lot of
been
time
to that
car
one
We
before
have
I
it.
go,
Is it-
Dustin.
It's the
Is it
biggest one,
good, though?
and it's good. Yeah.
What's
But the
It's biggest one
rebranding,
to have.
Okay.
so we don't know if the price will change.
What's the price you currently pay the most?
$5.
Wow,
I'd
Angie.
pay $10.
I'm
I'd pay
right.
$10 if it was good.
Mine
That's me.
was started at $7 and $8. They closed and rebranded, and now it's $14 for the person.
Say some good
So
stuff.
Angie, let me
Yeah,
ask you this
that's how it is in
question:
Denver.
since they closed and rebranded, have you seen a significant increase in better items there? Since
When they first opened, it was amazing, and just as I suspected, within 3 months, it was pretty much garbage again.
the same thing,
The same thing.
Interesting. Yeah, that's how
But
they get you.
they don't do what the prior company does, which is pull everything. That was good.
Mm-hmm.
They started pulling everything, so we stopped going because there was nothing worthwhile. This one will keep it there, but I think they're buying less expensive truckloads, so they just don't get the high quality items like they did. You know, it's just.
That's a
I used to when they first opened, we could literally fill 3 carts and it was amazing. Now I'm lucky if I buy 3 or 4 items.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Well, Ray, I told you that the one that's out by me in Denver, they open up on Fridays, but they have a Thursday night, but you got to pay $16 to be in the VIP club each week to get in early so that you don't have to mess with the people on Friday.
$16 to get in early.
I would
$16
do
is
that.
the
Oh, yeah.
admission fee to get in early.
I'd do that.
How many
I
all
would
people
do
go
that.
on $16 day? Or
I
on
don't
the,
know. I feel like I need to go just to find out about it. So
That would
I
be a
would
great
definitely
video.
go.
And what do they start at, Kristen? I mean, what is the price that they
You know-
start at, though?
I don't know. I'm going to have to look. I thought it was $14 also, but I mean, I have such good bins like Goodwill bins that I don't go to those things.
Yeah.
But you never know what you're gonna find. You know, like
That's
you can
how I
find
feel
a
with garage sales.
like Angie could find a whatever $1,000
Train parts.
Train part, $2,000.
Get it right,
But
right?
that was when they first opened. Sadly, they can't find those.
Dustin
anymore.
found the most expensive thing we've ever found. Dustin found a camera lens. What did you end up selling that camera lens for, Dustin?
$1,200.
Nice.
Yep,
And you paid how much, Dustin?
$7. That was when the
$7.
one in Antioch went to first open, literally first open. And
Dustin,
of course,
you should
that's
go
when
back and give them more. Should be a good
Go
guy.
back and give them the difference.
they're terrible now. And plus, they restock on Fridays, and I have
This is
a.
what my comment section would tell me.
Yeah.
I wish I could sneak away on Fridays to go more.
Go back and
That's
give him
funny.
like $500. Be a good person.
See, Becky
Here
was
you
saying
go.
she was at the Lebanon
Well,
store.
Dude,
The Lebanon store, and she's asking if it's closing. The Lebanon store is closing,
Ooh.
Oh
So-
gosh.
but
if it goes up in
Denver's
price and they
first
get
day
more
is
stuff, I'm
$16
okay with
per
that.
item. That's what
Yeah.
Jimmy said. In Denver, it's $16.
$16 an item.
Okay, there you go.
So you have to pay 16 to get in early and $16 an item too.
I guess so. I'll
Yes.
But
go
we
check
still-
it out and report back.
Yeah, report back. But we still have the one that is $7, but that's every other week here in our town.
Mm-hmm.
But it's kind of like it's a store where they have kind of what would you describe? Kind of like an off-price store, kind of like Marshalls.
Yeah.
Oh,
but
like
not
Big Lots?
that fancy. Yes, kind of like a Big
Yeah.
Lots.
Yeah.
But then they every other week they have bins of stuff that I don't even know why. Because most of the stuff is, I would say, pretty new, or maybe they couldn't put it on the shelf or not good enough to put on the shelf.
Yeah, sometimes.
And so they put them in these bins and they're $7. And we found great stuff in there.
I was in that one in Kansas City, and they had one side of the store, like there was a checkout in between them, but there was one side of the store reminded me of Big Lots, and they had everything there at like sort of a retail, like really discounted retail price.
Mm-hmm.
Other side of the store had those big bins, and it was like an Amazon store. And the day I was there, it was $1, but they told me that the next day it was going to be a 50-cent day. I was like, what? I would have gone for 50-cent day.
So did you go back?
Some people have like
No, I was
fill a
just
bag.
driving through, so
Oh.
I didn't go back, but I kind of wish I could.
Yeah, 50 cents. Sometimes in the Amazon bins they have a fill a bag day for
Yeah.
like $10.
Ooh.
As if I just said that.
Oh, I'm sorry, Angie.
How,
think of
how
it.
You
big
thought
is
of that
this
idea
bag?
because I
Yeah.
verbalized it.
Yeah,
Yeah, osmosized it.
I'm sorry, Angie.
How is it a bag they give you, or is it get your own bag, or how does it work?
It's usually like an
An
IKEA bag.
For
IKEA
one
bag, like
price?
those big.
Yeah, they give
IKEA
us an
bags?
IKEA bag, the blue one.
Wow. I need to go on that day.
Yeah.
Fill a
Holy
bag day.
moly!
Like if they have a lot of stuff, but at that point it's like 2016 calendars, like toilet paper with Donald Trump's face on it. You know, like things that aren't worth any
Trump's
money.
face.
That's worth a lot
Yeah.
of money, right there.
I
man.
would buy toilet paper with Donald Trump's face on it.
A lot of
to
people
the
do.
right market, man. Right, that's
the
worth
mar-
a lot of
That's
money, man. You
resellable.
gotta think about all these.
I think the
markets.
reseller calendars have made it in there too.
Right?
Probably. I saw
a couple
Balding
last week.
Pal picker.
Especially whatever month you two are on. October, November.
Oh, I
so
know.
One of those months.
You Enemans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. See. Oh, there's just the junk left. It's
Yeah.
bottom of the barrel stuff. But yeah.
It's
But
almost
back,
worth it just for the free bag though. That bag is.
you
at
don't
least
get
$1.
the bag.
Oh, you get the.
Oh,
Wow.
Yeah.
Mm.
So you don't
Especially
get
if
going
it's like a-
downhill.
Like a flip the world custom IKEA bag. That's
I know.
definitely
I
worth
have
it.
that one. Does anybody have an IKEA close by?
I
Yeah.
don't know.
Do you have? How close is yours, Kristen?
It's
near
it's
me.
in Denver, so it's on the other side of Denver, so I can be there in like 45 minutes, an hour, depending on traffic.
Oh,
You need to let me know
Same
next time
here.
we go, so we can load up on the IKEA bags because they're like $1 or
Closest
something,
one
right?
to me
Yeah.
is
Yeah,
two,
they're pretty
2
cheap.
hours away.
I was
so
there
that
when
would
they
be
had
a
the
bet.
hats, and I should have loaded up on those hats. I
Yeah.
didn't know. But there was.
Do those hats sell?
Oh my gosh, yeah, they're kind of a bolo.
I mean, like the blue ones that are made
Yeah.
that same.
Yeah, they're like
I,
bucket
the
hat.
bucket
Yeah.
hat.
Bucket
Yeah.
hat.
I have to
No,
go
I
check it
would've
out
got
because
one. I didn't get
I
one.
see those at our IKEA, which is the same, about 45 minutes or
Yeah.
so.
Mhm.
away.
And
we
then
were right by the one in St. Louis. Angie and I were just there. You can
First time I ever
throw a
saw an
rock.
IKEA.
really, they're crazy. Did you get the meatballs when you go in there, Kristen?
I do. I'm a member of the IKEA club, and I get the kids meal every time.
There you go.
We have
You
food
would get
at
that
IKEA?
kids meal every time. Yeah, they have meatballs and
They have a whole like cafeteria in there.
some people say the
Lingonberry
meatballs
jelly.
are made from the people that can never get out of the IKEA maze. They're stuck forever, and then they make the
Yeah,
meatballs.
they gotta
Yeah.
have some sustenance. To,
I've been there so many times. I know all the back ways
the back
to get
ways.
through. So
It's like a
Oh,
haunted
back
house. You have to
ways.
go like
It
certain.
is. There's arrows on the floor that tell you where you can and cannot go.
Where to go?
That's great. Ooh,
Ew.
who had a sale?
somebody's making sales.
So
Sold
did you
an
guys
ornament.
see Reseller
An ornament.
Network in there too?
Sold an
Another good
ornament.
podcast.
That is. Did they pop in? I can't
Yes.
remember. Yes, here we go. Reselling Information Network.
All right.
So they do theirs on Tuesdays, Kristen?
the live shows on Tuesdays.
The live shows on
The
Tuesdays.
videos. It used to come out on Fridays, but I feel like they're sporadic now because they
Yeah.
release clips throughout the week too. So I don't know when the actual episode comes out.
It used to
but
be on after us.
Yes.
Okay.
So it's Tim over the years,
Mm-hmm.
OBX, Eric,
Picker.
and then
Yes. Cernak,
Cernak.
Chris,
That's right.
and Leroy, Blood, Sweat, and
Leroy.
Soul.
Yeah.
There you go.
Leroy
So check
just-
them out as well.
Speaking of gift of gab, Tim over the years
Oh my god.
has enough
That guy.
gift in him for the whole world.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
He can do his own podcast.
Yeah.
He can. He should.
And it could be 24
And-
hours long, and he
and be
he
his
would
own
talk the whole
guest.
time.
Can you,
Right.
can you
You can
see
host
Tim over
and
the
guest
years
at the same
Chris
time.
having a podcast together? Wouldn't that be great?
Oh my gosh.
They'll talk over each other the whole time. I don't know if those two would work together.
Who
It'd be a
Chris
lot-
and Tim?
Chris
the
and Tim,
world,
wouldn't that be
yeah.
great?
Oh, wow.
There'll be a lot of talking over each other there.
It would be so good though. Oh well. Yeah.
Yeah. Perfectly Blessed says, when Give Me a 5 opened here, it was so good. 3D printers, computers, phones, and everything else you can
Nice.
imagine. It all
They all
started.
do.
I can agree
Yeah.
to that.
Wait. For $5, they used to have computers and 3D
Yeah,
printers.
man.
Yes.
Wow.
Well, we found iPhones in there for $5 before.
Wow.
Yeah.
Computers.
iPhones or like Fugazi
found
iPhones, like
No, like
No,
iPhones.
like I found an iPhone 11 Pro last year before the one in Madison's close to us shut down.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then about
Check the IMD.
a few months before that, I
IME
found a 3D
number.
printer in there.
dang.
That's the same that they
Wow.
do with like a Goodwill opening, grand opening, or after a a remodel.
Oh,
it's
all
like
the
the
time.
place is stocked with all the good stuff. And
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
week or
So
two
we
We
goes
need to
by,
get
and
the good stuff.
Yeah.
When you go to their middleman,
It seems like Dustin's the only one finding the good stuff. You know, I never hear about Ray finding anything good.
I found,
Ray
I
finds
find
some
some
good
good stuff. The thing is, it's like I usually have the camera strapped on to me and stuff. So I'm like worried
It
about
just
all
seems
the
like
other
Ray
stuff.
doesn't want to get his hands dirty.
Oh, I get in there, baby.
he
his
wants
soft,
his-
delicate
talking-
He wants
manner-
his
I
soft,
do-
delicate
hey,
hands
I
protected.
do wear gloves when I dig into those bins.
Are you
And-
kidding?
see Ray's
They're
problem.
probably
he
silk
fumbles.
gloves, like
He
Listen.
ones that come all the way up here.
Kristen,
He's
I
wearing
have been
oven mitts. He got.
I
oven
have
mitts
been
on.
cut
He's
in there
thinking of
before
those.
because you don't know there's like glass
You do.
and
You tough it out. You keep moving on, and you find the stuff you need. You don't be
Hey,
handsy. Don't wear
Look at
gloves.
those! Look at those hands, Kristen.
No.
He's like a delicate.
Ray
flower.
walked right past the PS5. It happens.
yes.
Literally fumbling the bags,
no.
trying to fumble with the
Did you not
bags,
ever see that
trying to
video?
open-
I
He
missed.
walks
Wa-
right
wa-
past the
right
PS5.
past
Oh
it.
my gosh.
They had two walk right past both of them.
We were just at the Goodwill bins with with Brendan, and from across the room, I was like, "Hey, isn't that a?" And he walks over and picks up some sort of a gaming system. What was that?
Xbox. Something.
Yeah, picked up an Xbox. I was like, "Hey, Brendan, you
Out
should
of the
get
bins?
out
Yeah.
of the bins."
That's cool.
awesome. Did they have like all the cords and all the connections and stuff?
I don't know anything about that stuff. That's why I was like, "Hey, Brendan, look, isn't that a
Get that.
thingy that you want?"
Yeah.
It had a
It's
power
like-
cord. That's
Isn't
it.
that a
power
thingy?
cord.
It is a
It's
thing.
one of those thingies.
You get
It's
the
one
thing.
of those things.
You should go get the thing. Look at the thing.
There we
That's
go.
funny.
He
So, Paul-
ran to get it.
Yeah, it must have been a good one then.
He brought it
one of
back.
the
It was a
one of the
bag
recent
box.
ones.
Xbox at the bins. What are you paying? Like $2 for that thing? Doesn't matter what it is.
They're
right?
heavy
So-
though.
I think he paid 3.
Yeah.
3?
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I
that's
think so.
awesome.
It was $1.89
Why
a
not?
pound. It was kind of pricey.
At St. Louis?
Inflation.
It's $1.89.
Inflation.
Inflation.
Hey,
There's no
inflation
Dollar Tree anymore, Chris. What do you want the bins to be?
Inflation has shut down half of our bin stores. Tell me inflation
agree.
isn't real.
That's true.
So if give me 5 rebrands, what's it going to be called? Give me a 14. Like
me a
you can't.
14?
This
I don't
doesn't
know.
roll off the tongue at all.
No.
Sounds terrible.
Jimmy.
Yeah, it's crazy. So Paul, circling back to the question at hand, the infancy of
Wait, what is the question at hand?
the infancy of the flip side. What would you like to see your podcast grow into?
Oh, that question that was asked about 20
Yeah, we never got to
minutes
you.
ago? Oh,
See?
okay.
Became a
I'm
bin
bringing it
podcast.
back around, baby.
Oh, this is like a flip side episode, man. This
Nice.
is just a perfect example of the episode where we go to the same question for 20 minutes straight. I talked about this with my episode with a lot of Josh, and because a lot of Josh used to have a podcast too called a lot of Josh Reselling Podcast,
Yep.
and he said the reason why he stopped it was he put too much pressure on himself to succeed, and when he wasn't getting views or whatever, it just broke him down, and he stopped doing it.
Oh, yikes.
So I actually went into this flip side, and I knew that was the case because I talked to them about it beforehand. So I wanted to flip side with zero expectations. So like I had, it's not like I'm like, oh, I want to get monetized in 2-3 months. I want to do this and this, and so it's just more of a kind of like you read yesterday with your YouTube channel. It's a creative output for you just to put stuff out. So that's kind of what I have is just to have a creative output for me to talk to my friends. That's pretty much what it is. It's just a conversation with my friends, and for me to get to know them better. And like how Angie said with hers, I have people coming on in the following weeks that have very little followings, even less subscribers than Ken, which is like hard to believe. But they
Yes, that is. It'll be nice to hear somebody that has less than I do.
Everyone go subscribe to SSK promo.
Some of them like are just starting channels too. Like I have a friend of mine that is a full-time helicopter pilot, and he's starting a channel about that. So like stuff like that. So I have no goal of it growing to a certain amount of subscribers, a certain amount of people, whatever. If it grows, it grows. But I just have fun doing it. That's
There you go. I like it. I like it. So ladies and gentlemen,
there you go, guys. There's Ken's link. Everybody go. Subscribe
everyone go subscribe to Ken. Go SSK promo on
Just
YouTube.
do.
Go subscribe for the people that are listening to.
Ken, I just subscribed to you from Paul's Piano Magic. Paul's Piano Magic. Just subscribe
Nice.
to SSK
Yeah,
promo.
because I just
Hey.
subscribed to you.
This is a good segue. That's the reason why Paul always wins all of his reselling drafts, because he has like 50 burner accounts.
They're not burner accounts. They're real channels.
He has 5 YouTube channels.
You're
He's
it's
voting
five.
for himself 5 times.
It's 5 now. It went from 4 to 5 that fast.
So segue into
One
that.
a day. He's got one a day.
One a day, exactly. One a day. So segueing into that, if you know, Paul and I, we do a somewhat of a podcast, somewhat of a show every Monday night called the Reselling Draft Mondays. I don't even know what it's called. Reseller Draft Mondays, and where we pick.
We only
certain
had
YouTube
like 40
drafts.
episodes of that show.
We pick drafts and or subjects we draft, and we take turns, and we invite guests like Ken and Angie and Kristen and
Everybody but Dustin on this panel's on that show.
Yeah.
Before. That's what I'm saying. That's
It's hard for me to
interesting
make it
how
on
that works out.
Mondays.
yeah.
Sorry.
Excuses.
See, Philly fingers.
I'm usually fixing my hair then.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dustin has a big hair
take
regimen.
24 hours.
So Paul, tell the people about our Resell and Draft Mondays.
It's a show on a Monday. Again, it's a show with resellers, as Ken says, that doesn't talk about reselling content. It's a show we can just let loose, talk about various things, and get to know other people. And we draft different things. Last week we drafted fictional jobs. That was a lot of fun. Talk about what we could do. This week we're drafting best TV dads, best movie dads, since it's Father's Day. We did a lot of things with food, with wrestlers, with entertainment. It's just pretty much like a football draft where you draft your team of whatever different things, and every week is a different show. A lot of fun, different guests. I think everybody on here also won, right? Kristen, did you? No, I don't know if Kristen won. Let me
I've
check.
won.
Twice.
I know Angie won. I know Ken won. Ken won
Ken, what'd you win?
the green things draft.
Favorite green things.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, that's right. You had that green light. That was money.
Oh, Kristen. No. Green light was TJ.
TJ picked it. Yeah, that was
Yeah.
the
Ken
most
had-
creative.
Ken had actual money. Ken had money. So that,
Money.
One word Smarties. Yeah, Kristen won twice. Kristen won worst Valentine's gifts and worst Christmas gifts. So anytime there's worst gifts in the
I
line,
know the bad stuff.
Kristen
I know
knows
that.
what to give.
That's right.
So yeah. So if you guys haven't listened into that,
Angie
listen to
won
that.
best
I should have
desserts
won
and tastiest
best-
animals.
I
Angie
should
knows
have won
tasty animals.
That should have been mine. I was robbed.
The tastiest animals. It was a very creative approach. Yeah, Dustin.
was.
I know
Kristen
Dustin
won.
didn't watch the tastiest animals, so we were all drafting like chicken, pig, like the cows. So Kristen came in with like gummy worms and like chocolate turtles and like animal crackers. That was her approach. It was pretty fun.
The goldfish crackers.
Yeah, goldfish crackers. That was her.
It was
her
appealing
approach
to PETA.
So tomorrow we're doing best TV/movie dads.
That's a good one.
Yeah. So Dustin, what's your favorite TV dad that comes to mind?
Oh God, Family Guy.
That's
Peter
the
Griffin?
best dad. That's the dad
The
you
best
want?
one?
Peter Griffin.
I mean that, or we can go with Full House. You know what's
Yeah, Danny
Tanner.
Tanner.
Danny Tanner.
Yeah.
Yes,
Can't beat
Thrift
him.
Beast. I keep a record of winners, not losers. I just keep a record. I have a
Oh,
spreadsheet
there you
of
go.
what people win. Keep a record of losers would be way too much work.
There you go. So it's sometimes
Gotta go
I
Homer
put
Simpson
up
too.
those
Homer Simpson.
Yeah, Homer Simpson. Sometimes I put up those episodes on our listening podcast just randomly. So if you guys subscribe to This Week in Reselling, I'll just throw them up there from time to time if I have time.
Some of them are good.
Look at that, Al Bundy, Tony Soprano.
Good ones.
Holy, it's a bunch. I don't know if I want Tony as a dad for me. It sounds like that'll be a very tough
It's
line.
gonna be a good one. It's gonna be a good one tomorrow.
Dominic
have quite
Toretto's
the
up
list.
there. He's
I'm ready.
fireproof.
Dominic Toretto, because he is a dad now.
He is a dad.
Oh, that's going on the list. That's going
Funny
on my
bit of
list
trivia.
now.
My husband went as Al Bundy for Halloween one year, and I went as Peg Bundy.
Really?
Uh-huh.
Do you have pictures?
Oh yes, I do. They're on my Instagram.
Who's Carl Winslow?
Clark Griswold.
Carl Winslow. Are you kidding me?
Who's that?
The Urkel.
Can I do that?
Oh,
Urkel?
I
Too
don't
many
watch that show.
Urkels on your team. That's why you're Winslow.
Didn't watch that show.
Boo.
Clark Griswold's top.
Yep,
top
Oh,
one.
that's my number one pick right there, Thrift Beast. Philip Banks,
Made good time.
Phil Banks.
Love that one.
Uncle Phil.
Yeah,
Man,
yeah.
R.I.P.
that's
Uncle
the
Phil.
Greatest dad right there, man. Uncle
But is
Phil was
anyone gonna dare say Bill Cosby?
Ooh.
awesome. No, we don't want to get canceled.
He was a
But
great
now-
TV dad, though. Can you
That was one of the
separate?
first. When asked the question, that was one of the first people I thought about was Huxtable.
TV
what was his-
Dad. He was
TV
a great
Dad.
one.
TV
Yeah.
Dad, yeah.
I don't know.
Kinda
I don't know.
ruined
If,
it
I
for
don't, I don't know
himself,
if you want that on the graphic, Angie. If you want a picture of good old Bill in your graphic, it might be hard to get votes.
True.
That's tough.
What is Kristen drinking over there? How many glasses do you
You're
have?
drinking
Down
some
in it.
white
It's the same
Zinfandel
glass.
over there.
Is this still your first glass? You've been chugging that
Yeah,
thing.
I haven't
She has
moved.
the bottle
I've been here with
behind.
What do
you.
you got, Dustin? What are you drinking?
Little Sam Adams summer variety pack.
Oh,
okay.
summer
Angie,
variety.
Angie's
Which
been
fl-
slugging
which
them.
flavor
What
is
do you
that?
do?
This one's the summer adventure.
I have 2 drinks.
Ooh. Oh,
Zero
Angie's
and a water.
double fisting
I got
over
you.
here. Okay,
I got 2 drinks too.
I have nothing. I've been listing tumblers. I can pretend I have a drink, and pretend like I'm drinking from this Grandpa coffee mug. It's available on the Philly Flipper eBay store right
Ooh,
now.
Grandpa. Oh, it's Mickey Mouse and Grandpa on it.
But
So
there's
Frank
no liquid in it.
Costanza. Number
Oh,
one
that's
dad.
a good one too, Frank.
Frank Costanza.
All of these guys are on my
Morty's-
list. I'm ready.
Morty Seinfeld.
Morty.
Morty, good old Morty. Is Uncle Leo a dad? Does he have a
Uncle
kid?
Leo. Yeah, because he has.
Yes, your cousin
Walter
Jeffries.
White.
Yeah.
Gotta go Walter White.
Walter White.
Uncle Leo was a great dad.
Fred
He loves
Flintstone.
cousin
There's a
Jeffries.
bunch of them.
Fred
That is-
Flintstone.
Yeah.
Oh, there's
Yeah,
so, I mean, there's
Stop.
so
There's so
many.
many.
Yeah, Kristen is just taking notes for now, guys. Can you stop naming all these good things?
They're all on my list. I already have them all.
So, all
I sat
right.
down with the family today and I was like, okay.
Vince McMahon, Ray, is Vince McMahon on your list?
Vince McMahon.
Jill picks like I do. You know, we're
Mark Henry's
we're a
on my
little
list.
older than the rest of the crowd. One of my first guys that I thought of was John Walton from the Waltons.
Oh, that's a good
Ooh.
one.
Yes. You know, it's like-
before my
That's a
that
good
sounds
one.
like a black and white show to me. I've never heard of it. That sounds
Black
like something
and
that would be
white?
black and white.
It was in color.
Fred
early
Sanford.
70s.
Roger.
I love Fred Sanford.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Mr. Rogers, was Mr. Rogers a dad?
I don't think he was a dad.
He was
Not on the show.
He should have been.
Yeah, that's a little weird. He's playing puppets all day.
Just taking his clothes off in front of kids. It's a little weird, man.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. Coming in,
Okay.
taking the sweaters off and doing all that. It's a little weird, Kristen.
So, guys,
I like him.
who? Mr. Rogers?
Rogers. I liked him.
Have you guys ever saw? I know that Tom Hanks played Mr. Rogers in a movie, right?
Yes.
I haven't seen
you-
it yet.
Have you guys seen that new movie that he has on Netflix? It's called like Otto.
Tom Hanks.
Super
Oh,
depressing.
Otto.
Yeah. Is it? It
Oh
looks-
man,
It's good.
It almost
great
looked
movie,
like
but
a,
it's depressing.
a version of Gran Torino with
I love
Clint
Great
Eastwood?
Torino.
Clint Eastwood.
Clint Eastwood. Wasn't it
Yeah.
similar to that? With you just
don't
got
know.
an old guy trying to cope with the world.
No, it's a little different, Ken. It'll tug on your heartstrings. It's on Netflix, so
I heard the real Mr. Rogers
man
had
called-
like tattoos on his forearms. That's why he had to wear a cardigan.
because he was like in the military, right?
Is that true?
That was
or
like
is that
a
just,
straight
is that just like a
tatted.
thing that people were saying?
I did watch the Netflix documentary about the guy. It seems like he was, pretty cool
Yeah,
guy.
I heard he was like a
He's in a
sniper
biker
in
gang.
Vietnam or something like that. Or
Oh, I'm
something.
sure that's
Yeah.
probably true.
He's in a biker gang.
he doesn't have any tattoos.
Mr. Rogers has no tattoos. So
No.
that was a rumor we heard about him. Okay. I heard that's why he had to wear a cardigan so he would cover all the tattoos. Cause there was
Yeah,
some
he doesn't have any tattoos.
TV
That was a
back then
stunt
with
double.
tattoo for him.
The stunt
What
double.
is
For
this?
the
The Mr.
spoiler
Rogers
alert.
stunt double.
Relate to
Dan.
like podcasts again?
Wow.
What'd you say? I'm sorry, Kristen.
How does this relate to podcasts again?
I don't know. We're got on a
TV
tangent.
dads. TV dads. Mr. Rogers.
So we're at an hour. I just want to say thank you all for coming on. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate each and every one of you guys. You all are all my friends, and I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you all for bringing so much joy in the podcast space and the reselling space to everybody. And I hope that all your podcasts grow and prosper and grow to what you want them to be. And guys, make sure you subscribe, listen to Reseller Clickbait Podcasts, The Flip Side, and Let's Do Lunch Podcasts. So, like always, my name is Ray.
My name's
We'll
Dustin.
go around.
Kim, that's escape room.
Forget everybody else.
Angie,
Was it my
Rachel,
Paul.
Kristen.
Paul.
We'll catch you guys on. Say it, Paul.
The Flip Side, the best podcast ever.
There you go. See y'all. God bless.
You can sit with us.